welcome and Ijoma Onyato tonight. Religious leaders and elder statesmen led by former military leader General Abdulsalami Abubakar call for halts to killings in southern Kaduna. Northern Elders Forum commend efforts of the military in curbing insurgency in the northeast, just as suicide bombers strike in Madagali again. The Department of State Security secures the release of 4 kidnapped oil workers from their abductors in Port Harcourt. And US President Barack Obama awards his deputy Joe Biden the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the country's highest civilian honor.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's headline inflation hits 11-year high at 18.55% in December 2016.
And on sports news tonight, Gabon agog as the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations begins amid tight security.
I'm Ibrahim Adra, and from Abuja, Bring Back Our Girls campaigners call for an end to violence across the country.
A strong delegation of elder statesmen and religious leaders led by former head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar are calling for a halt in the killings in southern Kaduna. The delegation is visiting Kaduna State to commiserate with the governor Malam Nasser El-Rufai on the killings of indigents by invaders. Other members of the delegation are the Sultan of Sokoto Saad Abubakar IV, John Cardinal Onayekon, former Chief of General Staff Commodore Obuti Okukiwe, and the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, the Most Reverend Matthew Kuka. Speaking on the visit, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Mr. Bala Bantex, said the purpose of the visit is to find a lasting solution to the killings in southern Kaduna.
This gathering is the National Peace Committee headed by the former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar. The reconciliation team is made up of influential leaders like the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar IV, Prelate of the Catholic Church, John Cardinal Onayekon, Bishop of Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Matthew Kuka, and others. Their mission here is to appeal to the aggrieved parties in southern Kaduna, northwest Nigeria. They are asking the people to sheath their swords.
These problems of killing, clashes, is not only limited to Kaduna State. It is something that is engulfing in the country. So we want to try to make sure that peace reigns in Nigeria, to make sure that people know that we are together. We have to live in peace with each other, and we have to give and take.
Peace is a gift of God because it's one of the greatest blessings. Whether we like it or not, without peace, not much can happen. And we already already down in the South Kaduna, those places where there has been this problem that life has been disrupted, children are not going to school, family is not going on. So anything we can do to restore peace must be done.
These leaders believe that to achieve enduring peace, dialogue is key.
Because they represent the major blocks that are in contention among themselves. The leadership of the traditional institution is there. The leadership of the church is there. Eminent personalities are there. We believe that the people will have even greater trust in their judgment, and whatever decisions they come up with and whatever suggestions, I'm sure the people will listen to.
And with their efforts, the National Peace Committee is hopeful that the different parties in the Northeast will give peace a chance.
Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency says 204 people have been killed in the southern Kaduna crisis. NEMA's Northwest Zonal Coordinator Musa Ilela told online newspaper Premium Times that a total of 204 deaths were recorded in 4 districts in Kafanchan local government area. According to NEMA, the deaths were recorded between October and December 2016. He said there was no record of any injured victim in hospital. There have been contradicting figures on the actual number of casualties from the killings in southern Kaduna, with the Christian Association of Nigeria and the police quoting different figures. And the Northern Elders Forum has commended the military for its efforts in rescuing the northeast from the reign of insurgents. The chairman of the forum, Alhaji Maitama Sule, gave the commendation when he held other officials and members of the group on a solidarity visit to the Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima. Alhaji Sule said it was heartwarming to see that they could move freely within the state, a marked improvement from the situation 3 years ago.
We thank God. We thank the federal government led by Buhari for being so determined, for standing firm, for making sure that by the grace of God we came to the end of this atrocity. We thank the military, and above all we thank the ulama, I keep saying, for the prayers. And I want us to continue praying. Pray for peace and stability. Peace, peace. If you have peace, you will have development. If you have development, people will be empowered, people will be employed, there will be no idle people, there will be no trouble. For an idle man is a devil's workshop. And this is what we have to avoid in the future.
Well, there are still security concerns as 4 female suicide bombers attacked Madagali in northern Adamawa State today. They tried to gain access to the motor park, and when they noticed they had been spotted, 3 of them detonated their explosives while 1 was shot. According to the Army Public Relations Officer, Major Badare Akintoye, 2 civilians were killed while 10 people sustained serious injuries and have been moved to the General Hospital in Nijika. Just last month, the citizens also experienced a suicide bombing where at least 45 people were killed and several others injured.
This suicide attack at Madagali, and 3 out of the 4 female suicide bombers, the explosives they carried along with them exploded, and 1 out of the 4 was shot down by the military personnel, and we've recorded 2 civilian casualties who were confirmed dead, where we have 15 injured. Some were treated at the military hospital, while others were taken to Michika hospital for further medical attention.
Now let's take a look at efforts to rebuild what's been destroyed by insurgency and violence. And the Yobe State Governor Ibrahim Gaidam is inspecting schools currently undergoing major repairs. Governor Gaidam is reconstituting 3 schools in each of the senatorial zones of the northeastern state to ensure that teaching and learning is not further disrupted. The schools were destroyed during the insurgency by the Boko Haram militants. Yobe is one of the worst affected states.
The rebuilding of schools is aimed at countering the ideologies of the Boko Haram militants by making teaching and learning conditions more attractive.
Which is under renovation.
9 schools are being rehabilitated, 3 in each of the senatorial districts of the state. Governor Ibrahim Gaidam is inspecting some of the work sites where classes, administrative blocks, staff quarters, hostels and laboratories are being transformed.
We are renovating not only this secondary school. What we have seen is the same thing we are doing in Guyokura, which we expect to visit next week. And the same thing we are replicating in Kika Secondary School. Those are schools which were initially constructed 35 years ago.
Governor Gaidam promised that as time goes on, other schools will be upgraded as his administration continues to give education the needed priority.
It is our intention to ensure that after the completion of all the ongoing projects, we are going to furnish all the structures put in place. That is including the staff quarters. Government will going to provide furniture to the staff quarters, I'm sure, inshallah.
According to the State Commissioner for Education, Contractors are being monitored to adhere to specifications in a project estimated to gulp 420 million naira.
We have one block of admin block. We have one dining hall and the kitchen, all being renovated, which is given to SGK Nigeria Limited. And Alhaji Bakura Kua Yunusari is renovating biology, chemistry, and physics laboratories.
When the renovations are complete, there's a commitment from the state government that more teachers will be employed to raise the academic standard.
The Department of State Services says it's rescued 4 kidnapped oil company workers from their abductors in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. In a statement, the DSS explains that the leader of the gang, one Emmanuel Iyo, had earlier been arrested in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. It adds that during the rescue operation, an official of the agency sustained gunshot injuries, while 3 members of the gang were killed during the exchange of fire. Various weapons were also recovered from them. The DSS also says it's arrested one Al-Qasim Salisu, a suspected Boko Haram member who allegedly fled the military operation in Yobe State to settle in Kaduna, where he and others had planned to launch attacks on select targets in Kaduna metropolis, including the railway station. And the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, has read the Riot Act to serving policemen, warning that officers who depart from the ethics of professional policing will be sanctioned. The police chief was speaking in Abuja shortly after decorating some officers, pledging that the police will continue to reward officers and men who exhibit exemplary behavior.
Since the inception of this current police administration, remarkable achievements have been recorded in various departments of the force. These achievements are a result of collective efforts of the senior officers whose devotion and conduct while performing their duties have been exemplary, to say the least. To this end, worthy of note are huge successes of critical national strategic operations, pragmatic and robust public relations, breakthrough in high-profile investigations, and landmark achievements in containing the menace of kidnappers and violent crimes throughout the country.
To aviation now. As the federal government makes plans to close the Abuja airport on March the 8th, the 3 airports in Lagos may face a rise in passenger traffic as more foreign airlines may be landing in Lagos. Our next report takes a look at the airport facilities that may help cushion the effect of that pressure. Our aviation correspondent Bukola Jo Oketumbi reports.
Aviation remains the fastest means of linking people and businesses, and the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, remains Nigeria's major gateway. In 2015, over 7 million passengers traveled through, and it's adjudged Africa's 5th busiest airport. In this check-in area, counter staff attend to as many as 8,000 passengers per day. A few years ago, the terminal was expanded on the D&E wings to give room for better passenger facilitation. While the airport authority says it's also working on other areas, a looming increase in passenger numbers may stretch the facilities as more international flights may fly into Lagos when the Abuja airport closure begins. The Minister of State for Budget on a recent visit to the terminal believes there is need to upgrade the departure area of the airport and the luggage handling process.
What is clear is that a lot of resources are required to bring the Murtala Mohammed International Airport to a better standard. As it is now, the departure area of the airport is like a market area. It's not a good impression for visitors that come into Nigeria to have to experience up to 2 hours before they are processed and onto their flights.
In the face of an upsurge in passenger traffic, the issue that may arise at the General Aviation Terminal, where 7,000 passengers are already processed each day, is the need to provide more screening machines at the terminal boarding exit points.
Every morning, in our terminal out there, you have about 1,000 passengers filing in to go through only one scanner. That shouldn't be.
As Lagos gears up to receive more traffic when the runway is closed in Abuja, the Airport Authority of Nigeria says both runways in Lagos are functional and ready to accommodate the expected increase in flights. Bukola Joe Oketumbi, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, Lagos High Court convicts 2 oil marketers for defrauding the federal government to the tune of 754 million naira. That's in a moment. Stay with us.